Well, consider me, ladies and gentlemen, today I have the pleasure of sitting down with a longtime friend of mine from the community, and he's doing something that everybody can get involved with, and me being an old country boy, that's something that I like to do too. Today I'm being joined by none other than Eric Simpson from West Georgia Farmers Co-op. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome, Alton. Always a pleasure to be here.
Same here, man. You know, as I talked about, being a country boy raised on a farm, I always say my stepfather's family had 100 acres, and I believe we farmed every 100 acres of it too. And we had everything from, as Shirley was saying, beans, peas, tomatoes, all of those things.
Absolutely.
And Eric, you're here to talk a little bit about what's going on with the West Georgia Farmers Co-op.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what is that all about.
Yeah. The West Georgia Farmers Cooperative is a farmers cooperative that's a cooperative, which is a business formation where it's collectively owned. Started in 1966, and of course, in this year will be 59 years old.
Yeah.
And of course, I've been a member since about 2012, and so I'm one of the small farmers. And of course, we grow food, and our objective, our purpose is building food systems, building a local food system that we own and control, and that we can rely on in good and bad times.
Own and control.
Yes.
So important, and I know we have various agencies in place to try to make sure that things are safe for the consumption of individuals. But when you grow it yourself, and I remember back as a young kid how we would plant one area this year and then we would rotate. And
yes,
how important is that, Eric? Do you think?
Well, it's very important because, of course, food that's grown locally, that's grown, in the symbiotic natural relationship is food is supposed to be grown, and growing enough of it to meet your needs, the needs of your family, the needs of your community, and just the vocation of farming and growing food, which some see as a dying vocation, but one that's needed because we have to eat to sustain ourselves. So that's important to the work that we do, is to keep small family farms alive and to make sure that there's a local food system within the community that we can rely on for the best for the best food possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, you guys have been in this will be the second year that we'll be having the Foodtopia market, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Foodtopia event, yes.
Okay. And talk a little bit about that, where that's going to be taking place.
Yes, Foodtopia is going to take place at the Cannon Street School campus. This is ours. You mentioned this is our second year. Last year was our inaugural year, and it's a food festival. It's going to be a huge food festival that's going to showcase a lot of local farmers and value-added vendors that's going to have their products and their food and products and crafts and different items on display. You'll be able to get everything from eggs to vegetables to seafood, beef, turkey, chicken, pork, the whole nine, the whole gamut, baked goods, breads, grains, and of course, we're also in the process, of which we'll probably talk about a little bit later, of building a local a cooperative-owned grocery store on a site here in LaGrange on the south side, and that mini mart will be available to even get a few grocery items as well. That's going to be featured in the store. So this area's probably a preeminent food event that's focused on local and small farmers and food that's grown and produced by these farmers and ranchers and value-added vendors and producers.
Very good. And as you were talking about that, people like to say, well, why can't we get a grocery store over here? Why can't we get a grocery store there? And because the food deserts do exist. And then with you all having the event there, you're at least addressing that issue during that time. And I was just listening at the things that you're saying that will be available at the market and it's going to be taking place on May the 31st. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit more. But these are all local farmers, correct?
Your local, as far as West Georgia farmers are concerned.
Okay.
So we're a regional group.
Okay.
So our West Georgia area, pretty much extends from as north as Carrollton and far south is Columbus before you get to Albany, and as far east over to maybe around Fort Valley. So we have members, farmers, and vendors from all of those areas. And over in East Alabama, we got a few farmers and ranchers that are between here and Tuskegee, in along that east to central Alabama corridor. And of course, we also have partners and networks within our cooperative where there's other farmers that may be outside of the West Central Georgia region, like the seafood fishermen that we partner with. And of course, our other producers that will have like the pork, the bacon and the sausage, they're in Georgia. So everybody's pretty much in Georgia or either East Alabama.
East Alabama. Okay, very good. And it sounds like you're going to a variety of things there. And talk about the times that the market will be taking place, Eric, if you don't mind.
Yes, Foodtopia, the event will be from 10 to 2 or 10 until
everything's sold out.
Everybody's sold out. Of people get tired and ready to go home. But not only will we have, of course, the market foods there and the vendors, but we will also have a couple of food trucks. There will be grills there that will be demonstrating the local food, and you can also buy hot food there. And we'll have some kid activities. So it's going to be, if you're a foodie and if you're really about community and food and fresh local food, the best of everything, and if this is something that you're interested in, we definitely encourage you to come out, because it's going to be, you will be able to stop here and pretty much get all of your food needs met. Even some of your other value-added products like soaps and that's made from natural products and other other items, cosmetics and just various things we plan to have there, in many baked goods as well.
All right, it sounds great. And let me ask you, I still go back to, like I said, my childhood, and I just remember, like I say, we were planting and everything. How important is it that, West Georgia Farmers Co-op teach the next generation about farming and, farming the land and raising food? How important is that?
Very important, because as I mentioned, we're food system architects. I mean, we're building food systems that we can rely on for the future, and that all starts with knowing how food is grown and produced. And so the system actually starts with the seed and the farmer, and then the system ends through the cash register and out even to the recycled compost. So learning about that is a life skill, and it's a life skill that we relied on, for centuries, being here in the United States. But it's a system that, of course, a lot of people have gotten away from, and it's been corporatized in many ways. But the local, of course, a farmer that or farmers or a co-op that nearby, either locally, regionally, or statewide, these systems are critical in order to ensure that this food that sustained us and kept us healthy and thriving, that it's still around. And so it's really important to train the next generation, or those that are interested, and those that may have family farms that's been in their family for years, to sustain it, to keep it around for another 50 to 100 years.
Absolutely.
So that's and we do that through our cooperative, through our various networks, through our one-to-one peer mentorships, and through other national partnerships, and even local partnerships with local extension and institutions like that. So it's very important.
Very good. And again, I just, as you're talking, I'm reflecting back and everything, again, there's nothing like being able to go right out to the garden to pick what you want, bring it in the house, clean it, cook it. You know where it came from. The minerals that went in the ground and kept producing things of that nature. So very important. If there was some young person or someone that's listening, Eric, that may not, I have not heard of West Georgia or don't know how can they get involved with you and West Georgia Co-op?
Absolutely. Of course, we're on all the social media platforms, and we're mainly Facebook and Instagram. But you can also, and you can go to those platforms and connect with our landing page, which is growwestgeorgia.coop, and you can join there, or you can go to our website, which is westgeorgiafarmerscoop.com, and join there. To join the co-op is only $20 a year introductory rate for you're a member, and you can, of course, you will have access to our meetings and events where you'll have these opportunities to gain this information and education and knowledge to help with that endeavor.
Oh, okay. Very good. So is that a nominal fee, and the returns and dividends are great.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, you know, because you're learning how to farm the land. And I know that, you know, they're, again, I want to do me some raised beds in my backyard.
Yes.
But I know that the deer would get everything that I would plant, though. So are there any suggestions of what I can do in that regard?
Right.
Think?
And we also, we also partner with a local community garden. Mm-hmm. That would be the first place for someone that totally want to know from on the ground level, so to speak, how to really grow food is to learn through a community garden. And we have one Planet Roots, which is near the site where we're having Foodtopia at. Okay. So, but yes, you can learn what's more advantageous for you based on your particular geography, where you're located, what pest pressures you're dealing with, whether it's wildlife or funguses or of course a floodplain or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the basics that you'll learn through us, our partnerships, and the partnerships that I've mentioned. Extension, community gardens. So we are a system of food builders and of course, and community builders.
Okay, very good. Well, I definitely, and again, we're here talking about the Foodtopia Market event that will be taking place on May the 31st at the Cannon Street campus there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. or until. Yes. Come on out and get some of your local grown stuff. And I know you'll be there, Eric, along with other vendors as well. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it, to be quite honest with you. And it sounds like, again, bring your checkbook. I guess the forms are payment, check, cash, credit card?
EBT cards, all of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
So, yes, it's going to be a food extravaganza.
Okay.
Everything in local food that you can expect, we will have here at Foodtopia.
Very good. Looking forward to it. Eric, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing this information. And this is the second annual, so I know they're just going to continue to grow. And I know that you got some other plans in the making that we want to have you come back on the show to talk a little bit more about, as we were talking before we came on. Some things that definitely are exciting about the Hamilton Road area there as well. So definitely would love to have you come back on, okay?
Wonderful.
All right. I want to thank you for joining Civic, ladies and gentlemen, this week. My guests have been from the West Georgia Farmers Co-op. I had on board member Eric Simpson as he talked about the upcoming Foodtopia extravaganza that will be taking place on Saturday, May the 31st from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. over at the Cannon Street campus. So by all means, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a need for some very good homegrown items, come on out and I'm sure you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed this interview, and as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.